Huh, look at that. It looks like that $70 billion that Microsoft spent to purchase Activision and the Call of Duty franchise is really coming to a head. In case you haven't been noticing, yesterday Call of Duty Black Ops 7 came out because, every year there's a new Call of Duty game that comes out because Activision was always greedy and always pump these games out on an annual basis because, well, people buy them and it makes sense. I mean, from a financial standpoint, if people are going to constantly buy your game over and over, you might as well put them out just like a annual sports game. It's essentially what it is nowadays. Black Ops 7 is the latest in the series, which, of course, last year we had Black Ops 6. We didn't really have a Black Ops 5, although I guess Cold War was the 5. Well, I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, this game has been having a lot of problems. A lot of problems. And we're going to be talking about that. This might be the most embarrassing Call of Duty game since Black Ops Declassified on the Vita, which is pretty infamous. You might want to look into that one. Although there's some fans of it, of course. I guess there's always going to be, even for some of the games like Infinite Warfare and Ghosts and Black Ops 4 and whatnot. There are some low-tier Call of Duty games that still have their fans, right? And that's probably going to be the case with this new one, Black Ops 7. But this is a new Treyarch Call of Duty game, considering the Treyarch just released one last year with Black Ops 6. Traditionally they've been given around 3 years to develop the games, but I guess Microsoft's like, nope, you can churn this out annually. Why not? And it's really coming to a head. As we can see here, it's not reviewing very good. 43% of the 996 user reviews for this game are positive. Now, this is just specifically for Black Ops 7, mind you, because they actually do something kind of shady with the Call of Duty franchise on Steam, where, the series, basically from Modern Warfare 2 on, are all just lumped into Call of Duty. And they do that intentionally because it actually pumps up the player numbers and stuff like that. It makes it look like it's a bigger game than it actually is on PC. It's actually not that popular. Let me show you the Steam DB charts. So this right here is demonstrating the amount of people that are actually in the game right now. Now you'll notice something. If I go back to 3 months, this is where we're at right now. Bear in mind, this game just came out yesterday. So it's hitting a peak. It's at 94,245 players for the current peak for the month of November. October, last month, mind you, this was when they had a free weekend, too. It actually exceeded that. They're in a free weekend for Black Ops 6. And you can see the numbers as they are. Now, you might be wondering, well, this is Steam. Obviously, PC players are going to tend not to be as much in the Call of Duty as they are, say, in Battlefield, which is true. These are the Battlefield numbers right here. But you can see even with it kind of dipping a bit, which arguably could be because of the fact that Arc Raiders has been doing really well lately, and that's been kind of stealing some of its thunder. It's still kicking COD's ass. Because you have to keep in mind, with it saying this, I'm sure the bulk of those players are playing Black Ops 7, but those are not just the Black Ops 7 numbers. That's anybody playing Black Ops 6, anybody playing Modern Warfare 3, anybody playing Modern Warfare 2, anybody playing Warzone. That is the cumulative total for all of those games combined. Because, like I said, they do this shady thing where they don't even tell you the real numbers. And there's a lot more to this. It's also baked in with a bunch of AI slop, which isn't new. They have done this before. I'm sure you guys probably remember the Black Ops 6 AI slop image. I think it was for the Santa. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, this right here. The good old six-fingered zombie. Six-fingered zombie. So they tweaked with this already. They've already kind of toyed with the idea of this, and people called it out. But that doesn't matter to them. They're going all in with AI Slop. These are some of the calling cards, you know, like the little cards that you could put on your player emblems. These are all AI Slop. Now, I want you to really get a good look at these. I'm going to zoom in if I can. Let me see how I can do that. It's been a while, actually. I might be zoomed in all the way. I don't know. Could be the case. But I digress. Look, you can see some of these images right here. Notice anything particular about these images. Just take a look. Take a look at these images here. Yes, it is completely 100% AI Slop. And not just that, but they're apparently using that one Studio Ghibli fake thing. They're actually trying to sue the company. I forgot which company it was specifically that did the AI thing for it. But they're using that animation. And it's not even like anything to do with Call of Duty at all. These are all like medieval images. Like you could see this is like something that belongs maybe in a fantasy RPG or something like that. You got this dude that's wearing like leather armor. You got dragons. There's no dragons in Call of Duty, okay? We got freaking rip-off Gandalf over here. We got like a rip-off dude from like Berserk or whatever. This has nothing to do with COD at all. So they couldn't even bother to make images that were appropriate for the actual game showing military shit. They had to do this, which is just sad, which makes me wonder if they even actually used their own AI prompts to generate these images, or if they just outright stole somebody else's AI generated images, which, I mean, I guess was a whole other thing entirely. Can you really steal something that is stolen assets to begin with? I say, no, you can't, you know, but obviously they're using images that were already generated. Just completely terrible. And, the campaign for the new Call of Duty game has been getting blasted in the reviews. It's been getting like 5 out of 10s and shit like that, which none of the other games have. Now, these numbers are showing a 784, which, I mean, that's probably mainly because of the multiplayer, and we have like, you know, simp companies like Gaming Trend that literally gave it a 100. You know, I'm not even going to bother to look at that review. It's probably complete garbage. I doubt the reviewer had even remotely an inkling of really any critical eye to it at all. But let me look up. I know the IGN, they had a review where they gave it like a 5 out of 10. I'm going to look up Black Ops 7 boss fight because I want to show you guys something here. This is something that's completely ridiculous. I'm not aware of any Call of Duty game that has ever done something like this here. Let's go ahead and yeah, here we go. Let's not give IGN the view. Let's give this guy the view right here. I'm gonna mute the audio though. But right here, we're just gonna skip ahead a bit. Look at this here. Got the cutscene, and yeah, what the actual fuck? This is a Call of Duty game, guys. Now, I know it has a little bit of fantastical elements. It's not exactly like super realistic or whatever. And I know we have the zombies mode. So this is the actual campaign. Can you think of a Call of Duty campaign that has had anything remotely this ridiculous? Where you have these giant dudes. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, honestly. This makes absolutely no sense, but, you know, they were only given a year to come up with a game, and I guess they just did what they could, right? Because they couldn't come up with, like, an actual real storyline, apparently. From what I understand, they take a lot of elements from the Warzone game mode and stuff like that and throw it into this campaign, which clearly means that they're just taking assets that they've already had for several years and they're just kind of stuffing it together in a last ditch effort because Microsoft is trying to reach this 30% profit margin for the gaming industry, which is actually kind of fucking insane when you look at the actual profit margins of most of these companies. Like the only companies that really hit those kind of margins is Valve, because they don't release games, they just sell games and take a huge cut of sales. They take like a 30% cut from these developers that sell games on Steam, which, hey, more power to them. Steam, I mean, it's a bit of a racket, but it's a good racket. You know, they're actually offering a good service to the consumers. So I guess they earned it. And then you got Epic, which you have their own storefront, not quite as successful as Steam's, but it's been picking up some steam, pun intended. And they also have a little game called Fortnite. I'm sure you never heard of it, but it's kind of like one of the most profitable games in the entire world, constantly earning billions of dollars every year in profit for that one singular game. But this is Call of Duty now, guys. This is Call of Duty. Is this what you hoped for? I mean, I guess a lot of people would say, they've already had their best days. You know, some people will say, back in the 360 days and whatever, that was their best times. Arguably, yeah, you could consider that. I mean, you got the original Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, the Black Ops games. Those were all great for the time. They have had some good recent games, though. I was a huge fan of the Modern Warfare remakes, personally. I actually liked Modern Warfare 1 quite a lot. That's probably my most played Call of Duty game ever. And then Modern Warfare 2 wasn't quite as good, but it was still really good. And, you know, they did make some nice changes. And that's when they revamped Warzone. They brought us DMZ, which was actually a really cool mode. It was kind of sad that Activision decided to kill that off, because if they would have just kept refining and developing that just like they did with Warzone, I think that could have actually been huge by now. It could have possibly been big enough that it would have stole the thunder out of some of these other extraction games like Escape from Tarkov and Arc Raiders and stuff like that. But, you know, because they decided to completely cede ground, it allows those other games to really take advantage of that segment of the market. But sad to see. But kind of hilarious at the same time, and kind of well-deserved. Not necessarily for the developers. You know, I'm sure we're going to hear about a bunch of layoffs over at Treyarch and Raven and whatnot in the future, because Microsoft doesn't care about quality. They spent $70 billion because they figure, well, Call of Duty is going to print money. And for a time, it will. It will print some money for them, but if this is the kind of output that we're going to get, and we compare it to how big Battlefield is right now, that gravy train is going to come to an end. So, don't forget to check out some of the videos, guys. I've got some other videos. You know, gonna recommend some stuff. That's the most recent one. The other one over there, of course, is just one that the algorithm's gonna tailor to you. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. But I think that's gonna be the last line.